everybody. Good morning. Take a comfortable seat on your yoga mat. You can sit cross-legged or a different way, however feels best to you. And then place the hands down along your thighs so that you can put a little bit of pressure into the legs to bring your torso up a little bit taller. And then maybe close the eyes or turn your gaze low. And just allowing ourselves to drift from the activities of the morning into this time for yoga practice. And doing that, welcome to Yoga Hour. The word of the day is sensitize. And I have the short reading for you. It says, intelligently practiced, yoga develops one's sensitivity. It acts as a bridge to awareness and understanding of self and others. We must be careful not to use the practices as a way to numb ourselves in an obsessive or addictive way. Ideally, yoga helps us confront our difficulties without denying that they exist. On the other hand, if we become attached to the pleasure and bliss generated from intense yoga, we might get caught in the trap of seeking after these experiences. Better to enjoy our practice and move on, to drop into that place of goodness and peace in a single breath. Then we will stand free within yoga, not dependent upon it. So be sensitive through each breath, through each pose as we practice today, but not dependent on it. I loved that. Palms together, thumbs to the sternum, and Anjali Mudra. And as I took a class with one of my teachers this week, she reminded me the reason that she chooses to open classes with Om and also close classes is that part of the meaning of this sound of Om is that it gives power and presence to whatever comes after it. I haven't been singing Om that much at the beginning of class. I thought it might help us today to be even more sensitive and more aware of each movement. So let's sing together. Listen or sing with me. Empty out your breath, and then take a deep breath in. Release the hands down along the thighs. Bow chin to the chest. See the power and the presence right after the vibration of sound. And then right ear over towards the right shoulder. Chin down to the chest, left ear to the left shoulder. Chin down to the chest. Take both hands behind the head and just give a little bit of a press of the head up into the hands. So we find this familiar little stretch from the top of the spine leading down to the tailbone. And also a securing of strength, belly button back towards your spine on the front side of the body. Okay, release the hands, lift the chin, open your eyes. So we are starting up standing today. So stand on up. Come to the front end of your yoga mat and take mountain pose. So for you, if you like feet a little bit apart, do that. If you like them all the way together, do that. It's what works, right? Hands down by your side. And then even just thinking about it, can you grow your head slightly taller towards the sky? Inhale, lift both arms up to the sky. Turn palms in towards each other like you're making a number 11 here. Point the thumbs back. And then again, reach up just a little bit taller. Inch through each side of the body until you can clasp palms together. interlace your fingers and then thumb and first finger back up. Lean to the right side and push your hips to the left. Keep your shoulders open, your hips open towards the front. Come back to the center and reach up and over to the second direction. And then come back to the center. Interlace your hands behind your back now. Big bend in the elbows. Squeeze the elbows into one another. And the palms themselves can stay open here. And stretch your arms out straighter. Keep some bend in the elbows and then bend your knees. And then head down to your knees and hands up to the sky. So in this form of chair pose, keep, again, some bend in the elbows, just trying to work and open in the shoulders, upper body, right off the bat here. And then release the hands and stand all the way back up. Sweep the arms to the sky. Okay. This time, take the right hand and hold on to the left wrist and reach up and over. A little deeper crescent stretch here. Keep squeezing glutes in and press your feet down into the mat. Inhale, come back to the center. Hold on to the second wrist. Reach up and over. Squeeze the tips of the shoulder blades in towards each other as you extend out through the top hand. And come again back into the middle and take the arms straight out in front of you. I like feet a little wider for this. And again, chair sit. You bend the knees. Lay the belly down onto or as close as you can to your thighs. And you can look straight down at the ground instead of ahead. Try to lift your upper arm bones so they frame your ears and keep sitting lower into the thighs. Stay here, breathe here. Next breath, stand up, arms to the sky. One more time. Exhale, lower the arms down. Give it a little bit of a shake. Okay, same thing. Arms are going to end up overhead, but we're going to start slightly different. Arms out at a V, about shoulder height. And then turn the palms up towards the sky. Squeeze the tips of the shoulder blades in so it brings your shoulders back. And then take the arms wider. Wider still so they start to move backwards. Relax the tops of the shoulders, the traps, but keep squeezing in at the tips of the shoulder blades. And now take the arms overhead. A little more work there. Interlace the hands and thumb and first finger high. Same reach, reach over to the right side, push your hips to the left. And can you lift your right foot off the ground as well? Come back to the center. Switch to the second direction, second side. And it might be keeping toes on the ground and just trying to tap them up a couple of times. Go for the reach in the side of the body first. And then everything back in. Arms stay as is. Bend the knees, big back bend. Ask here in chair pose. The belly wants to go way forward. Keep pulling navel in towards the spine, tailbone down to the floor. You've got this. And exhale, forward fold, touch down. Step your feet all the way back to downward facing dog. And finding downward facing dog, pedal the feet a little bit. Shake the head a little bit, yes and no. And then take the knees down to the mat so that you're in all fours. Twisted child's pose. Fold the right arm under the left to bring the right shoulder, ear, side of the face down to the mat. And left arm out in front of you. Keep the left hand there or up to the sky. Each of these is asking for a little more opening and shoulder rotation. You could also drop the hand down behind the opposite hip. Okay, unfold the hand, take it beside your face. press down to come back up to all fours. Take a breath in. Exhale, be sensitive to what comes on the exhale. And then second side, left arm under the right, shoulder ear, side of the face down to the mat, and extend the right hand out in front of him. Right hand again can go further up to the sky or fold it behind the opposite hip. Place the right hand back beside the face. Use it to help you up. All fours. Take awareness of a breath and let it go. And then do cat pose. Press down through the hands and knees and round the back a lot. Let your head release. Keep drawing navel up, up, up towards the spine so you find a lot of strengthening aspect in this cat pose. And then do the opposite, cow pose. Let the belly drop down, pull the chest forward and through, eyes and tailbone up to the sky. Okay, as we find neutral spine, go back to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes and lift the hips up nice and high. Come forward to plank pose. Look slightly ahead of your hands. As you do that, pull the feet in close to one another. As always, squeeze in the heels and glutes. Lengthen the tailbone, tone the belly. Press down through the inner edges of your hands more than anywhere else. Drag the hands isometrically away from each other, and also the heel of the hand back towards your toes. It really gets that low belly strength working for you. Lower it all the way down to your mat. Hands back behind us. Turn the palms up to the sky. Lift everything that you can up. In this belly down back bend or shalabhasana, squeeze the heels in. Try lifting the hands as high as the shoulders and keep dragging your chest more forward and up. And then lower down. Press back to child's pose. Hips to our heels, enjoy this stretch a moment. Walk the hands over to the right side. Get a really nice reach and also a pull back. Left hand to left hip. And then walk the hands across the center, over to the second side. And we're trying to get that long reach and pull back. Now from the right hand to the right hip. Good, come to the middle. Through all fours to downward facing dog. We've got side planks here towards the beginning and they're quicker. So place your weight onto your right hand, the outer edge of the right foot. Either keep both feet down or stack the feet to one another and lift your left hand up to the sky. Often we'll hold this pose longer. Today it's pretty quick. Set the left hand down, spin over to the outer edge of the left foot and lift the right hand up. Push down through your left hand and the pinky toe edge of your left foot to keep the hips lifted. And then you go right back to plank position. So instead of holding side plank for a long time, we're gonna put it into a little bit more of a repetition in class today. Lower down, take the hands and interlace behind your back now and lift everything up. Heel of the hand can stay away from one another. It'll give you just that little bit of extra space while taking in the power of the clasp. And then lower it down, press back, child's pose. From child's pose to downward facing dog. Make sure this down dog is a pretty long stride here. So that again, as we turn to side plank, right hand outer edge of the right foot, there's an angle from your right shoulder to the wrist instead of stacking right on top of each other. Side plank, left hand high. One breath. Lower the left hand, go right into the second side. Right hand high. All right, you guys with me? Come back to plank. Lower down to your yoga mat. This time, hands out in front of you, superhero pose. Swim the legs back individually. And then lift everything that we can high. Lift, lift, lift. Exhale, lower down. Press back to child's pose and then right into downward facing dog. One more repetition of side plank. It's right hand outer edge of the right foot. Stack the feet, lift the left hand high. If the stack of the feet is working for you, more challenge, lift the left leg like you're in a star position. And then place left hand, left foot down. Stack the feet to start with. Find your balance, find your security, hips high in the air. Then maybe take the challenge, right leg off. And we find plank pose. Exhale, lower down to the mat. Cobra, press the hands and feet down. Peel your chest up. Beautifully done. Lower it down, press back to child's pose. You get 2 breaths here. And then roll to sit back onto your heels. So bring our torso upright. Interlace your hands out in front of you. Flip the palms, press forward and up to the sky. Shrug your shoulders as high as you can into the ears, and then move the entire arms back further behind you. Think mid-ribs down towards your belly, so you sit heavier onto your feet. And one more time, move the arms further back, but push up through your thumb and first finger. Nice little subtleties that give us the means for practice. Let it go, shake it out a little bit. Okay, so from here, you're gonna sit down onto your bottom, feet out in front of you. And take your hands about a foot behind you. I like to point my fingers out towards the side here. If you have more ease in the rotation of your shoulders, you might like to point your fingers towards your seat. All right? It's like a table. Press down through your hands, down through your feet, and lift up. Look at your thighs. Squeeze the glutes. So we want really strong connection of the back side of the body. And then make your breath kind of puff up through the belly. So big that it hides your knees, but keep trying to lift the hips higher at the same time. And then lower the hips down, all the way to downward facing dog. So if we cross the ankles, kind of slide, jump through, up and back, down dog. However you get there is great. Here in downward facing dog, we're finally gonna get to our first lunge of this practice. Step the right foot forward in between the hands. Hands to the waistline, come on up. Lift the arms to the sky. Turn the palms so they face in towards each other. And as we've done earlier, we're pushing the thumbs to the behind us as we lift higher through the pinky fingers. And then change, hinge forward at the waist, lower the left hand down and right hand up for revolved lunge. Pull the right hip back in space, the left hip a little bit forward here. And then bring the right hand to the inside of the right foot. Spin the left heel flat against the mat. So with 2 flat feet, walk your hands out towards the left corner for down dog lunge. Bring the hands back in to surround the front foot, pull up the back heel. Step back to plank position. Lower down to your yoga mat. Peel the chest up for cobra. Hug the elbows into your side as you lift through the top of the head. And then lower back down, downward facing dog, up and back. We'll get this going on the second side. Step your left foot through to your low lunge. Make your way up to high lunge, arms to the sky. Work to square the hips and shoulders to the front here and really power through the back leg. Hinge forward, change to your revolved lunge. It's right hand down. Tone and turn through the torso to take the left hand high. Steady your breath. Left hand to the inside of your foot. Spin the right heel down, down dog lunge. Walk the hands out over the front right corner of the mat. Now, if that feels a little tight in the hips, try walking the hands further to the right, but keep broadening the left knee out towards the left side at the same time. And then hands come back in, surround the front heel. Step back to plank position. Lower down, chaturanga is that little hover. Try to stay in the hover, flip to the top of the feet. Up dog, legs stay off the ground the whole time. Down dog, hips up and back. From downward facing dog, lower the knees, cross at the ankles. You're gonna come back to that table position, legs out in front. And you can do the exact same thing as we did before with bent knees, or level it up with straight legs, hands still behind you, nice and wide on your yoga mat. Press down through the heels, the hands, and lift the hips. If you're going for straight legs, then extend through the front of the feet to get the toes back down. Change your focus to look back at the belly if you had looked up. Just a little safer, easier on the neck. And then we'll lower hips back down. Cross and flip over to downward facing dog again. All the way up and back. Bend your knees and walk your hands backwards to your feet so you end up at the end of your sticky mat. Give your best forward fold a go here. Keep all 10 fingers on the ground. And then make the legs as straight as you can. From your hips down through the head, extend. Try to feel a little bit of release and relax in the shoulders, even as you work this strong connection through legs and core. Bring your hands to your hips, point your elbows to the sky. A little bend in the knees, always safest. Press down into the feet and come all the way back up to standing. Whew. Okay, shake it out a bit. We'll stay here at the back of the mat, feet about hip distance apart, and arms straight out in front of you. Lift your right knee up in between the arms. And then I usually need a little helping hand. Hold the front of the shin and try to get the leg up even higher. From here, notice what's happening on that standing leg. Press down through your big toe. Imagine your heel, your outer edge of the heel, trying to pull over towards the left side of the mat. Lift up on your kneecap and tone your left thigh. Okay, keeping all of that, hands change to under the right thigh and make your right leg as straight as it'll go, keeping as much height as possible. Keep doing that. One arm up, 2 arms up. Big breath. Lower the right leg down, and then step it all the way forward to your high lunge. You can scoot it out until you get your full stride there in high lunge. Change to twisted lunge, left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Hook, and then keep working deeper. Elbow towards the outer right thigh and hip to continue to find the tone, turn, and deeper twist in the spine. Look anywhere that gives you best balance. Next breath, untwist. Set the hands, step back to plank, hold plank, or one push up, down, up, downward facing dog. Little bend in the knees. Walk your hands back to your feet. Hook your first 2 fingers and your thumb around your big toe. Bend your elbows out to the side. Let your head relax and drop down. Keeping all of that, then again, straighten the legs to best of your capacity. That lift of the kneecaps, tone in the quads, give you the strength to find a little more depth and range of motion. Again, deep bend in the knees, take the hands to the hips, point the elbows to the sky, press down into your feet, come all the way up. Arms straight out in front of you, take the left knee in between your arms. Hold to the front, give it a little more of a height. Pay attention to your standing leg. So if I have a little bend in the knee, I tend to lean back in my torso and get really unstable in the pelvic floor and belly. The more that I straighten the standing leg, I'll tend to tilt almost a little bit forward, and we want that sense of strengthening. Hands under the thigh and extend the leg. And again, progressive stages, so you stay and work there. You can work one arm up, but keep the other. See what happens. 2 arms up to the sky. And slowly lower the left foot down. Step it forward, high lunge. Lift the right glute up. Push through the back heel. Keep the back leg straight, even as you sit lower, and take a twist. Right elbow to the outside of the left knee. And try to dig in after a couple of breaths a little bit more. Point the left elbow up towards the sky. Untwist, set the hands down either side of the front foot. Step back to plank. Here's the opportunity to hold or add the tricep push-up. Downward facing dog. Look towards the hands. We always want to look where we're going. And then a big step forward, right foot to low lunge. Lower the left knee down. This will be a little quicker. Throw the arms up to the sky as you move the hips down and forward. Lower the hands down, step back to plank. Step the left foot forward into your low lunge. Right knee down, squeeze the legs energetically towards each other as you again throw the arms up to the sky. Just one breath here in this monkey lunge. Lower the hands down, we get into plank position. Lower flat against your mat. Let's go for cobra again, the peeling up. Squeezing the glutes, press through the feet. I always like to really take this position in, sensitive to each little movement in and out of the pose. Lower it down, press back to child's pose. Sit back on your heels, upright in the torso. We've already done this. Interlace the hands out in front of you, but then take the other finger on top. Okay, just a little different clasp. Send the palms forward and up. Yeah, and as always, I sit back on my heels because that works for my body, but if it's better for you, come upright. Okay? If it's all right, you stay down. It's giving a good stretch through the ankle, strong closure in the knee joint there. And we'll release. Come forward to all fours and just kind of pat out your feet for a moment. And come up to kneeling, hands at your hips. If you aren't facing the long edge of your mat like I am, switch your body so that you are. Okay, hands at the hips, as much as you can. We're gonna try to stay stable in the body and just move the right leg. It looks like this. Right foot steps out, and then put it back. And try it again. Try to keep everything as stable and strong as possible and step the right foot out. Nice. Arms up to the sky. Interlace, favorite way to do so, thumb and first finger high. Lift up a little bit taller, keep lifting through the left side and lean over to the right. Try not to give anything away. Shoulders stay open, hips stay open, lean, lean, lean. And come back to the middle. Release the arms, release the leg. Okay, same thing, second side. So this is like first option for parigasana. We step out, step in. Just getting a good idea and hold of the strength, step out. Okay, arms up. However you can best get your grip, length, and attention. Arms could even stay open if that's best for you. I like the power of the squeeze here. And then we take it over, over, over. From that right side, keep lifting up, 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 even as you descend to the side. Shoulders open, hips open the whole time. Nicely done. Come back up and set both feet down. I'm going to take my hands down to get into a wide-legged forward fold. So just step both feet out. And then starting from that lower position with still some room for a back bend, extend from your hips out to the crown of the head. It helps me to think of lifting the chin so high that it's kind of an uncomfortable gaze there. And then we keep that length, but walk the hands back and set the head down to or towards the yoga mat. If your head reaches the mat, great. Use it as another extension to press down into the floor while everything else tries to lift up higher. Press through the outer edges of the feet as you squeeze in through the inner edges of the feet. And then hands to the hips, press down into the feet and come all the way upright. Great, legs stay as is. If that feels a little too wide, just scoot it closer in. And then dig your right heel in, but lift the toes up and turn the foot, the leg all the way out. Extend the arms in either direction, triangle pose. Reach, reach, reach. Lower the right hand down, left hand up. Press down and out through your feet as you squeeze in and up through the inner thighs. Broaden across the shoulders, look up to the top hand, and then stand back up. Trade feet parallel to one another. Dig the left heel down, turn the entire leg out. Triangle pose, second side. Keep both limbs, arms, legs as straight as possible as you go into your pose. Bottom hand can be on your leg, a yoga block if you're using one, or on the floor. We're going for this great length through the torso and opening across the shoulders. And then come back upright. Trade the feet parallel to one another and just heel toe it all the way in. The arms can relax. Give a little shake through the legs. Okay, come back down to kneeling. If this is sensitive on your knees, fold your mat in half so that you have better cushion there, and that's not the thing you're worried about. Okay, ustrasana, I'm gonna turn to the side just because I think that makes more sense for you guys to see. Tuck the toes, this is camel pose. Squeeze your glutes strong in towards the center. And we want to feel, if you place your hands on either side of the pelvis, you want to feel as though you're pulling up on the front side and slightly down on the back side. So that goes the whole way. Hands can change to the hips. Lift the chest towards the sky. If you're in a room, you're looking to where about the wall and ceiling meet one another, the horizon of the sky. And then lean back until your hands find your heels. Once your hands find your heels, push your pelvis more forward, chest more up, and then look more towards the sky, but not back. Bring the hands back to the hips or sacrum and come back upright. Pause there for a moment. Okay, remember where we were before. Right foot out to the side. Do that again, but this time the leg goes all the way towards straight. Square the hips and shoulders still towards your side. Don't let them point towards that extended leg. They stay open. And this helps me. The right foot, turn it slightly in, and then bend your knee a tiny bit. So don't overextend here. A little bend through that knee. It's funny how much it can help. Arms back up. Okay, this is our very best effort to stay hips, shoulders open as long as we can as we lean over to the side, knowing that at some point we're gonna have to give it up. But the most we can, we keep turning and opening to the side, and then you're like, wow, my foot's way down there, and so I'm gonna have to give it up, give it up, give it up, until my hands find the foot. Once my hands find close to or on the foot, I'm gonna try to open back up underneath myself again. It's super hard. Inhale, come all the way up with integrity, with sensitivity in the body. And then lower back to neutral. Okay, again, parigasana. Other foot out. We tend not to see this, like it's not that maybe cool of a pose, and it's very hard to do, and so you don't see it a lot in class. Turn the left toes slightly in. If I'm thinking of progressing on down the line to wanting to extend and open through my back bends a little more, I think this pose is elementary to all of that happening. Lift, lift, lift. Okay, and again, as much as we can, we're gonna keep hips and shoulders open, open, open to the side for as long as you can, giving up as little as you can, and then knowing at some point you're gonna have to turn the chest down to reach to the foot. Once you get to the foot, as slowly as you went down, I want you to come back up. So you open as quickly as possible, and then slowly, slowly, slowly come all the way back. Release the arms, release. Baby thinks that camera is pretty cool, huh, Janelle? Okay, ustrasana, one more time. So you're like, hey, I'm sort of like level 1, 1.5, and that was a lot to get down to my heels with the toes tucked. And you do that again. If you're like, no, I'm ready to progress, I'm thinking myself more in the 2.5 to 3 level range, then you're gonna go flat feet. Hands start here. Either way, squeeze the elbows in, lift the chest. Push the hips slightly forward, all right off the bat. And then, can you curl the chest high enough? I like to imagine there's a string pulling me up, even as the shoulders move back. And then take to the heels. And it's kind of the same. You're going to have to give something up to get to the heels, and then you try again to push the thighs and the pelvis forward. Double chins. Place the hands back to the sacrum. Push down to come back upright. After that deeper pose, I usually need a little sit, a couple of moments, a couple of breaths. Back into that deeper awareness. Okay, we're switching gears a bit. Come through all fours. Back to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Lift the right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. And step the right foot all the way forward to your low lunge. Come up to high lunge, arms to the sky. And warrior two, so spin the left heel down and then open up. So you change the focus to the side. Right elbow to your knee, side angle pose. Extend the left arm, palm down overhead. Stay and work here, or right fingertips to the floor on the inside of your leg. If the hand is down on the floor, use your upper arm bone to press the right thigh further back. Take the left hand behind your back. Move into your bound side angle. Right hand under the right thigh. Remember that parigasana. Try to keep the shoulders and the hips open to the side. Give as little away as possible. Warrior two, come back upright. Set the hands down either side of the front foot like a little cartwheel. Step the foot back. Stay in plank or add a push-up. Do downward facing dog. Let's see that combination on the second side. So we'll take the left leg up, step it all the way through. Get your strength, your length. Get your length first and then come upright. And often in this high lunge, especially when I know it's going different places, I don't sit so low in the hips. I stay higher up. So there's more ease in the joints and mobility as I go to warrior two. Spin the back heel down and take the arms out in either direction. Left elbow to the knee. Get here first. Palm down, arm overhead. Shoulders, hips open to the side. And then again, sort of knowing your boundaries. Will it enhance the practice? Take the left hand down to the inside of your leg. You can always try it, get about halfway there and come back up, that kind of thing. What works today sometimes doesn't work the next day or vice versa. Be good to yourself. Drop the right hand behind the back. And then you can lower left shoulder more towards the inner thigh to get the clasp. Hands behind the back. And as you're trying to find the clasp, we usually give a lot up in terms of rounding the chest and pulling down towards the ground. So then we have to go back, head towards the front end of the mat. And release, come back to warrior two. Lower both hands, either side of the front foot. Move through the push-up or don't. And then downward facing dog. We're starting from here just one more time. Lift the right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Step it forward to your low lunge. This is half moon pose. Balance on your right fingertips and the right foot. Left hand to your waist. Lift the left leg high. Make your standing leg only as straight as it goes for you, meaning it can stay bent. With the left hand, at the little bony protrusion on the front of the ilium, the front of the hip. Try to pull that higher up towards the sky. So it opens the hips and shoulders back to the side. And then take the left hand and extend up. Maybe even change your gaze to look up. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Lower it all the way back to low lunge. We're going to do a quick switch to the second side. So jump, left foot forward, right foot back, or step. Left hand, left foot, lift the right leg up, right hand to the hip. That bony protrusion on the front of the hip, the top of the pelvis, try to pull it open to the side. That comes really from a rotation in the bottom standing leg, and then right hand can go up. Point your toes. It's a funny little thing, but it helps me. Lower it back to your low lunge. Downward facing dog. Lower the knees down, sit back in child's pose. Take 2 breaths there. And then come upright in the torso and stand all the way up. So just transition to standing. We're going to keep going with a couple more of these open chest and back bend shapes, letting it all fuse together. Start with feet hip distance apart and kick your right heel to your seat. Take your right hand and hold on to your foot. So it's like dancer pose, but instead of hinging forward, we're going to try to stay as up and down as possible. So I call this like flamingo pose. Left arm in the air, turn the palm in and reach up really tall. And then kick your heel out away from you with the knees still squeezing in towards each other. So as your foot kicks into your hand, you'll broaden in the upper back. Keep lifting, lifting high. And then release, heel back in, and arms down. Second side, that's it, okay? Left heel towards the hip. Take the hand, I've got thumb down on the outside edge of the foot today. And other arm straight up to the sky. We're looking for a good quad stretch, so we don't want this knee to go out to the side. We want it to go straight back. Remember in ustrasana when we had our hands front and back side of the body, and I said lift up on the front side, down on the back side? Try doing that here. It might form a little deeper quad stretch. And then both feet back down to the ground. So it's those same actions and openings that we'll do, going back into our half moon shape, but then trying the catch of the heel behind us while we're down in half moon. So just think, I did each of those parts and then I'm just gonna smash them together. I like to start just standing in the middle of the mat, both hands down. Bend in the knees. Take your weight into the right hand, right foot, left hand to the waist. Point the left foot behind you and then lift it up. So this time around, if you had a straight standing leg, go for a deep bend in the knee first. Now, everyone, kick your left heel towards your seat. Fully close that left knee joint as much as you can and reach the left hand back to find your foot. If you're like, I can't find it, crunch in. Try to take the hand to the foot and then reopen. Imagine that you're in that flamingo. Extend your head forward and your knee and foot back. Slowly open to the side. If it works, you straighten the right leg. Ardha Chandra Chapasana, bound half moon. Release both hands, both feet down to the mat. And then we give it a go on the second side. It's left hand, left foot staying down. Right hand to the waist, lift the right leg up. We've introduced this in a couple of different ways lately. It's important, I think, to not just give up on a pose, but to try to find those sensitivities and awarenesses. Where can I change just a little bit? Maybe this entry works better, or maybe not. And just getting into that knowing. Open it up. Second side, spread the toes, press the foot into the hand. Do your best. And then release both hands, both feet, down onto the mat. Walk it out to downward facing dog. Remember side plank from the very beginning? We're going to do that here and try to hold on to the foot in the same way that we just did in the two standing poses before. Getting my hands less sweaty. Make sure you've got a good firm foundation too. Okay, let's go. Right hand, outer edge of the right foot. Stack your feet, side plank. Start there. Do that first. Now, take your left foot and step behind you. So you've got 2 feet that can use to give you more lift. You stay and work there, or kick your left heel in towards your seat and take your left hand back to find your foot. Spread your toes and push your foot into your hand. Kapinjalasana, we were here last week too. Downward facing dog, you go back. Second side, left hand, outer edge of the left foot. Think of it all in stages, not just the last pose. Every stage counts. Stack the feet, step the right foot behind you. That should give you a little more leverage. And then weight stays outer edge of the left foot to try to kick the right heel into your seat. Reach the right hand back. Maybe find it and push away. Release everything into down dog. Forward to plank pose. Lie flat down onto your belly. Roll over onto your back. You guys are great. We're almost there. Soles of the feet to your mat. Reach your hands and grab close to or brush close to the edge of your heels. Press your feet, shoulders, and head down into the mat. Bridge pose. Lift the hips up. Squeeze in the glutes. Remember back, same sort of elements of that table pose we did in the beginning, but we want to lift belly and hips higher up. Interlace the hands under you. Fold the shoulders in closer. Push down through the inner edges of your feet to lift the hips. And then release the hands and lower the hips back and down. Pull both knees into your chest. Give it a good squeeze. Hold on to just the right leg and let the left leg go down to the mat. And then move the right knee more out to the side. And then back to the center. Pull the left leg back in, extend the right leg down. Let the left knee go a little bit out to the side. back to the center. Pull both knees in. Step the soles of the feet down to the mat. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh, figure 4 shape. Point the right knee out to the side. Stay there or pull the legs closer into the body and thread the arms through. Release, 2 feet to the ground. Left ankle across, pull the legs in. Both legs down. Take your feet as wide as the sticky mat. Let the knees fall in towards the center. Let the hands be heavy right at the front of the hip or the belly so that you can feel a sinking down into the mat from the mid to low back. Change again to full Shavasana. Extend the arms and legs. Find your stillness, the length of every breath. You're, of course, welcome to lie there longer. As ready, though, come on back up to a seated position. Bring palms together, thumbs back to the sternum in Anjali Mudra, continually offering yourselves the gifts of the practice. I'm thinking today of the word sensitize, and the summary of that in the practice is like, go all in, but in a way that you can sustain. Good lesson for life, no doubt. And let's close this time with the sound of Om. As always, sing along or listen. Empty out. Deep breath in. Bow in gratitude and honor to yourself, each other, and for this practice. Thank you. Namaste.